So I have an idea that I'm sure someone else has thought about it, but I don't see it. And it's so obvious to help people. I don't know why anyone has not really commercialized it or made a big deal in a simple, cheap version. And that is a cart, like I do here, that is um that you can put stuff in, just drop stuff in, and once you drop it in, it can have the bottom can move up and down with a motor. And the reason why is if you drop stuff in the bottom and you have a hard time bending, it goes up so you don't have to bend, and it goes down if you don't have to down stuff. And the bottom has wheels that are motorized, so you don't have to put any of the weight on yourself. You might be able to turn it on and off the wheels. And then the wheels have a motor that brings them up and down, this telescopic things, so you can push them upstairs just by making the wheels go. Instead of them hitting the stairs and it goes down, the wheels can go like this. And they can climb upstairs. Then there'll be a sensor that detects when there's a change in height where stuff will move forward, and it can do it. Now the sensors could be a variety of things. They could be an ultrasonic sensor, which are generally cheap and easy for the computer to interpret, meaning that they give it the data they give is more already in its format of distances away from a point. So you have to use like less computer vision, like your eyes interpret distance, but they have to do a bunch of calculations. They don't just see 5 meters away like an ultrasonic sensor. The odd things about ultrasonic sensors is they can use more power, not always, and also things that can disrupt them more. And briefly, just how ultrasonic sensor works, it basically works by like echolocation with sound waves. They also do not produce as high resolution. So if you want to train them to have a sensor for whatever reason, to see stuff better and do stuff better than just height, you might have a hard time. I don't know exactly why you would want to do that at the moment, but maybe if it can recognize certain slippery surfaces to adjustments, like ice, or maybe it recognizes tracks and follows along the tracks that you've painted down, like some robots do, or scan some information from the floor. I don't know. Another one is Lidar, which uses it's like kind of like a mixture of Lidar. It's laser interferometry radar. It's kind of like the ultrasonic idea, except for it uses lasers, and these lasers oftentimes you can't see. They're using it some cars. It also gives distance information, and it either works by looking at how a laser spreads over a distance. So lasers aren't perfect. They spread slightly with distance. They're not a straight, and you can use that to calculate distance by how much it spread when it hits the sensor back. They either look at time differentials of the pulses, which you can find better with how would I say it, with interferometry. We take two different laser beams, and one is going up and down. It hits it going up and down, but bounces back in the opposite direction, and it interferes. And then either if it's going up while the other one's going down, it cancels out. If they're both going up, they get stronger. And you can use that to make a ruler with a complicated things. It doesn't directly give you a ruler, but it tells you how much the height is, either increasing or decreasing. And if you have a starting point, you can figure out it. And you can combine these methods together. You can combine them with different pulse techniques and all these fancy things. You could use multiple different wavelengths to get better, because different wavelengths tell you different distance changes. It works, but it is certainly a lot more complicated, a lot more expensive, and usually bulky, and usually doesn't work as well with short range distances. But it is there, so I'm just throwing it out there. Or you could use just one exact of the mill cameras, which are getting cheaper and cheaper. Just look at the iPhone and stuff like that for how good they are. The problem with cameras though is you really have to do a ton of programming because of computer vision, because they don't give you distances. And now this means a ton of training. Now, with better certain optics, it's easier because of just how it focuses. It doesn't focus really far in distance, it'll just focus local close up down, which gives it a little more of a nice condition. It doesn't have like judge distances between 1 foot and 1 mile. It just has the judge distances at a steady range of 1 foot. The problem also with cameras is that cameras are also light dependent on lighting, so you either have to make it so it can work in any lighting, except for complete dark. It's never going to work in complete dark. With training, or you have to make it have a adjustable light source, or both. Yeah, and training takes a lot longer. You can also combine different sensors, and one possibility of combining sensors is you have a simple ultrasonic sensor that trains your cameras, and therefore your cameras can get ready, and eventually in the later models you can get rid of the ultrasonic sensor, or you can turn off the ultrasonic sensor in power saving mode, and slowly the ultrasonic sensor becomes not necessary as a bunch of home users use it. And that's one of the best real world training you can get. Hire a bunch of people to use the beta versions and train your sensors. Okay, enough about that side tangent. Another problem with this design is that if you're moving upstairs or something, temporarily you might mostly have the weight on 2 wheels, or downstairs, which might make it slip, which is not safe or in any way. However, there's a bunch of ways around this. One is to have it with 6 or more wheels, so it's never just balanced on 2 back wheels or 2 front wheels. There's always a middle wheel stabilizing it, so you never have too much of the weight. Another one, now the thing about this one is this extra wheels, so extra electronics, extra motors, drives up the price, and more likely something breaks or gets caught, and even might make the whole thing bigger. You also might make it less friction actually, if it really disperses the weight better, but I doubt it. That'll be a very design dependent thing. Another idea you could have is you could swing one wheel forward, and that one wheel that it swings forward could keep 3 wheels on the ground, then 1 wheel is off and then gets back on the ground, then the other wheel swings forward, so it always has at least 3 wheels on the ground. This is a little bit, this motor could be the up and down motor too, so you could combine it, but it's a little harder to program and design, swing it, and it might have sometimes certain geometries where it might get stuck on lips or something. The idea that I kind of like the best, but it uses some of the most power, is a self-balance, and you would have to adjust it so it works really fast so it doesn't go out of control. It's self-balancing, and how the self-balancing idea would work is simple. Let's say it starts slipping this way. Then it's on the motor, this temporarily goes in this way just to correct it. Or it temporarily goes in the direction that it's slipping to stabilize. And this has been used before in like segways and other things like that stand upright, a bunch of self-standing upright things. So it has been done before. The problem is it has to react quickly but with the right control so you don't overcompensate and end up slipping the opposite direction, or so you don't waste too late that you do slip. And you have to just get the balance just right. For the more advanced version, what you could do is you could add an alarm to it, and if you add an alarm, you could have an alarm that tells people to like move out of your way, or even a turn signal or something like that. If you have, or you could have ones with other things if you have trouble communicating. You could have one that helps you with turns. So not only do the motors help you move forward, you could have ones that help you turn around angles. You could also use it to steady yourself with like little buttons, and that could actually help you turn too. If you have a button to turn it, that's not you, or move it. If you have trouble with motor coordination, it could start moving your back in the right direction. Don't know how much of help that is. I think it would help, but I've never tried anything like that. I don't have those same problems. That would make me an expert on that. You could have this completely self-driving. If it's completely self-driving, why would you even care about it would be the best because it could help people that have a hard time with it that could walk, but it just takes them so much longer. So then they could just drive it back and forth. Or people that can't walk at all, that are stuck in bed. It could help with executive dysfunction because there's one last thing to plan or think about. And also the thing with executive dysfunction is when you stop seeing stuff, you stop thinking about or noticing stuff. So if you're working on your computer and you leave to get up to get something and get back to your computer, you might get distracted and not do your work. So having something else do your work for you would be even better. So it would help with executive dysfunction and disorganized people. It could also help people that have trouble moving upstairs move upstairs by helping them balance with a self-balancing feature and more. So it could help a bunch of people, and it could help people with back problems bend less, and back problems are one of the most common problems in the U.S., and so much more. Well, I hope you found this interesting. Please like it and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers in a year, 4,000 watch hours, which is really hard, but with your help, I think I can do it. Also, please leave a comment behind if you liked the video, if you have any criticisms, ideas for future videos or anything, and please share it with your friends. It really helps the channel out. Thank you very much. Goodbye.